Yo, what's happening, Raider Nation? It's your boy Soto here. You know what it is. Raiders versus the world, talking about the team the world loves to hate, your Las Vegas Raiders. All right, so I was getting a little bit nervous. I don't know if you guys were too, but we lost two starting linebackers from last season, and we only got one linebacker back that had some starting experience in the NFL. The other guys we have are mostly backups, rotational guys, and special teamers. So I was kind of pushing to get us another linebacker. Now, names out there were kind of floating around. One of the names that had like a little bit of appeal, a little bit of a punch was Devin White. It also made sense because Devin White has a history with John Spytek. John Spytek was in Tampa when they drafted Devin White, number 5 overall, one spot behind Cleveland Farrell when the Raiders took him at number 4. So it made sense. He was a top-level player. He was ranked number 64 players overall in the NFL in 2022. That's following a couple of good seasons of play at linebacker. This dude, he balled out in the playoffs when Tampa won the Super Bowl with Tom Brady as quarterback. He has the ability. He has the pedigree there. It's just not consistent and tailed off towards the end of his career. The dude is only 27 years old. The guy has plenty of time left. We're going to get into it. But before we do that, I want to make sure everyone please like, comment, and subscribe to this video. It's a great way to support this channel. It's absolutely free, and it's the bare minimum you can do to support this channel besides doing absolutely nothing and just watching the video, which, of course, I always do appreciate. But just go ahead and subscribe. What's the big deal? All right, let's get down to it. Devin White, freaking baller, dude. His rookie season, when they went to the playoffs, in the playoffs, his stat line was ridiculous. He had 38 tackles, 2 picks, 2 recovered fumbles in the playoffs. Damn, that's like a pretty good half a season for most linebackers. For some reason, I don't know what it was, whether it was concentration, whether it was just the pressure of how well he did in the playoffs. His performance dipped in 2022. I don't know what it was, but it did dip. There was a big dip. Now, that same season, he was ranked number 64. Going into the season in the top 100 of players overall in the NFL. He was ranked like 76 out of 80 eligible linebackers by PFF. Now, again, PFF is not the end-all, be-all, but if you're towards the bottom of a list, it says something. Some of the big criticisms against Devin White were the fact that he really wasn't a leader even though he was voted captain. He had some issues and some lapses in effort and judgment, and some of those were chronicled by former and current Bucs players at the time. One of the big ones was Warren Sapp. Warren Sapp had a lot to say about some of the effort on some plays by Devin White. Let's take a look at what Warren Sapp had to say about Devin White's effort.
10-10 game. There's 5 plays in a football game that will decide a football game, Tony Dungy used to say. I want y'all to watch this.
Devin White's the linebacker 45 on the bottom.
But better yet, I want you to watch the effort of the captain right here, number 45.
The captain. Screen out.
And then the non-discipline of 54, just run through it. Just run through it. Nope. 27, contain the ball. The longest plays in the NFL happen up the sideline. Nope. Boom. Lock your safety. Now we got a hat for a hat and a first down. I want you to watch the captain. How do you show up with your defense on Monday morning with this type of effort? I ask for your C off your chest. Are you shitting me?
Whew. Look, that wasn't a great play by the defense overall. But, yeah, that was a pretty bad play by Devin White. The ball was out of the quarterback's hands. He knew where the ball was. There was no chance of a double pass or anything like that. So he just kind of loafed it on that play, and he should have been a little bit more sense of urgency to get to the ball, and he just wasn't. In case you guys didn't hear it, Warren Sapp called for the C off of Devin White's chest, which is pretty extreme, but, I mean, seeing as how that was a pretty egregious move there, I mean, we saw some guys making quote-unquote business decisions that got benched for quite some time by AP last season. So Devin White did respond to this, and his response kind of did leave some room for optimism about who the player and the man that he was. Let's take a look at how Devin White responded to the criticism by Warren Sapp.
No response to that. I mean, people that know football know what was going on. You know, I was on the far side of the field, on our sideline, just with my coverage, and a play happened on on their sideline. I took off running. You know, obviously I didn't run the fastest over there, but I mean, my teammates know what's going on, and you know what comes with me with on the field and effort. So I mean, it really ain't no response on that, man. Salute to him. You know, he did a great job. He won a Super Bowl here, and it's freedom of speech. He can say what he want to say. So I mean, I respect to him.
Okay, he was kind of half and half there. He made kind of a BS excuse. Yeah, I was running down the play. The play was on the opposite side. He wasn't running. He had no want. There was no effort there to get into the play. So yeah, whatever. But he did take the high road at the end. You know, he called him, you know, a legend of the Bucks, and you know, he's a guy that won a Super Bowl, and he's entitled to his opinion and this and that. All right, that's all well and good, but that's not the only thing. There was some other issues with teammates and things that happened with Devin White just not acting like a captain. There was an issue after a game where the Tampa Bay Bucks played the Saints and former quarterback Jameis Winston. This was a post-game interview by Devin White, and listen to what he had to say.
Come down to turnovers. You can't make mistakes. Why were you guys so on fire with that? 5 turnovers today for this defense.
Hey, man, when Jameis left our team, everybody know what he did that last year. And we feel like we had a great defense then. And, you know, he threw 30 picks, you know, and we just knew he'd give us the ball. We knew the running backs, you know, cough it up. You know, and that's something we came in talking about. You know, we want 30 turnovers as a ball club ourselves. So this was another game to go attack the ball.
How do you feel about this defense right now heading into week 3?
Look, here's the deal, all right? Is he lying? No. Is he wrong? No. Should he have said it? No. Jameis Winston was a beloved, everyone who's been a teammate, well, almost everyone, but most of the people who've been a teammate of Jameis Winston have great things to say about him. The fact that he's a leader, the fact that he's inspirational, he's always out there, he works hard. It didn't go over very well, especially if you're a captain and you're bashing your former teammate. It's almost like if someone gives you a lot of gossip, that's not somebody you want to gossip with, because the stuff that you tell them, they're going to tell other people, just like the stuff people told them, they're telling you. So if Devin White turns on his former teammate, how can you trust him to not turn on you later? I get it. I understand. And Chris Godwin actually did not take too kindly to this. On the plane back from New Orleans, he confronted Devin White about his comments on Jameis Winston. You see it in the background on Leonard Fournette video. Just listen to the background. Somebody calls out to Devin White and asks him about the Jameis Winston comment. It's a short clip, so just listen up to this.
Hey, why you said that about Jameis, bro?
What I say?
In the interview.
What I say?
You said this
Don't say nothing crazy.
Oh.
Leonard Fournette saved him because I think Devin White was about to go off. But look, this goes to some maturity issues, leadership issues that Devin White has. I think the issue in Tampa was Devin White was given this big crown. He's given this accolades and everything basically off of one season and pretty much off of 1.5 seasons. Got to his head a little bit. He thought he was a little full of himself. Then he didn't do himself any favors. Going into 2023, he had high contract demands. He's like, I want to have a $100 million contract. I'm going to hold in. I'm going to go and I'm going to not fake injury, but say I'm injured so I don't have to practice. The kind of the holding in thing doesn't really set well with teammates and with management when you're a guy whose production is dropping. You're not a good leader. You're not good on interviews. You're not taking accountability. You're kind of shaky right now, a little dicey with the teammates, right? Then you ask for all this money and hold in and it is what it is. You're faking an injury. That's why you're not out there practicing. That's tough, man. Now, Devin White did admit to mishandling the situation with the Bucks, but it really bit him because instead of that $100 million contract extension that he was looking for, it kind of bit him because after his contract was over with the Bucks, he was just let walk. And instead of that $100 million deal that he was looking for, he ended up signing with Philadelphia for 1 year, $4 million. A little bit less than what he was looking for. And his time with Philly wasn't great. During OTAs and minicamp and all that stuff, Devin White was a starter. Well, Nakobe Dean, the rookie out of Georgia, started taking some of his snaps. Then, before the season starts, Devin White wasn't the starter anymore. So he loses a starting job, which is kind of a bummer because you're, the free agent pickup, even though you're only making $4 million, it's like, why do we have to pay you anything if we got this rookie coming in and playing better? This is where it starts getting a little funky. He had an ankle injury, which is kind of the excuse everyone in Philly said why he lost his starting job to Nakobe Dean. So he missed the first game of the season with an ankle injury. He was a healthy scratch the next 2 seasons. And despite being a free agent acquisition, the 4th game of the season, he cited personal reasons as to why he did not want to play against Tampa Bay. That's a huge red flag maturity-wise. Again, this was in the past, and maybe a situation and a team that was kind of like, we're looking to win a Super Bowl right now. We don't have time for this nonsense. We're not going to wrap our arms around you and bring you in and kind of bring you along. We're ready to win now. We don't have time for this. Time to dip. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting how you look at it from that perspective. It's like he had this great start in the beginning of his career, and slowly Devin White started to go further and further down to where he just got released by the Eagles because he wasn't playing. And it wasn't like he wasn't able to pick up, a contract with anybody else. It's just, he just was, I wouldn't say untouchable, but kind of was. Devin White didn't do himself any favors by not playing special teams. So you're not going to carry a linebacker that's not starting on your team if he doesn't play special teams. If you're not a starter in the NFL and you're not a quarterback, you better play special teams. And Devin White just didn't play special teams, so he was expendable. Look, it's not a perfect pickup, but there's quite a few things that Devin White can do really well. Devin White is an excellent blitzer as a linebacker. He's super fast. He's a crazy blitzer. He has great instincts, and he trusts those instincts. When he trusts his instincts, he's a really good linebacker. He puts up really good stats, and he can play really well in the system. If he's there with, let's say, an Landon Roberts who's able to put him in the right positions, I think he can flourish in this system. But he has to get his ego in check. He has to get his mind in check, and he has to be able to be accountable to himself, his teammates, and the coaches. Because, look, this is the first kind of pickup that's kind of like by John Spytek. It's like, yeah, it's a nepotism thing. He's played for you in the past, but things since then haven't been great. But look, ultimately, the potential is there, right? The attitude issue is there, and also some of the ego is there as well. So you kind of have to weigh the balances. As long as we didn't pay a ton for Devin White, I think it's going to be a good deal because, look, you can't tell Devin White that he's the man. You have to say, look, this is where you are in your career. What do you want out of the rest of your career? If you want to be a contributing player, you can come to an organization that's been known to give talented players second chances where they can flourish. If you want to do that, if you want to change the narrative on your career and you as a person and a player, you need to start right now. And if you can't play, if Devin White can't play for Uncle Pete and PG, if you can't play for those two guys, you just can't play in the NFL. This might be the last chance for Devin White because, look, his production has been going down. His attitude is kind of stinky sometimes. He's got a little bit of an ego problem. If we can put that in check and hone him for what he is, we can get an extremely productive player because linebacker just got a whole lot faster for Raider Nation. All right, guys, that's my time for today. Hope you liked the video. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It's a great way to support the channel. It's absolutely free. And ultimately, it's the bare minimum you can do to support this channel besides doing absolutely nothing and just watching the video, which, of course, like I say, I'll always do appreciate. Guys, let me know what you think about the signing of Devin White. How is he going to perform under PG and Pete Carroll? All right, everyone, that's my time. Until next time, everybody, peace. Hey, Raider Nation, thanks for watching. There's plenty more where that came from. Go ahead and smash that like button, drop a comment, make sure to subscribe and share to all your socials. It's the bare minimum you can do without doing absolutely nothing.